There's a lot of things about a video like this that I like because it shows right through to the win. He didn't halt or stumble, but he had good editorial control, but I don't think there was any secrets that were missed that weren't included. I think it's a true showing. It has the support of a very nice company to back him up with the material, so that's not any issue. Oh, welcome back to another reaction video for mold making. Looks like we got a pro to pro here. Hello, good sir. The beautiful thing about a video like this is it creates a immediate tremendous disproportion because look at that shop. Everything at the beck and call. Everything should go right here, I'm thinking. So let's see how a beautiful shop makes beautiful molds.
We're gonna show you a step-by-step process that we took to create a tin-based brush-on silicone mold and multi-part support shell for both of the parts
it's a beast.
Of our original model. Now, if you haven't already seen the videos, make sure you check out the links down in the video description. There's going to be links to the video of the prepping of the model, as well as casting into the mold once we finish.
La la.
This is a 3-part.
I don't think we're gonna go all the way.
Series.
We're just gonna do a little bit.
That's a 3-part video.
This project and see how these are made.
Well, it's part 2. I want to go to part 1 and part 3 prior to this.
Okay. Got a little graphic-y.
Now, first, we are going to set up the working surface for the mold making process of the upper skull. So note that on the clay container, I have clearly written tin clay on it.
You're like a butcher.
This clay is used
Slabs
for
of meat.
tin silicone
I'm hungry.
applications only, otherwise it will.
This is the beautiful part of having a great shop. He's obviously got some help or some time to do this. Maybe this is his dedicated job. I don't know, lucky guy. You know, but those slabs, they take a little bit of time to make. We used to slab a bunch in one day and then we'd have them at the ready. So nice prep work.
Inhibit the cure of platinum cure silicone. So keep your clays identified and separated. This is Sculptix Soft that is already rolled out in a very specific thickness.
So they sell a lot of stuff, smooth on, so that's just a part of the deal here. Pay to play, right?
And this is going to be the base for my model. This is where the model sits on.
It's so wobbly.
It's going to be made on.
The wood?
Here I'm filling
like the base.
So it's on a Lazy Susan.
And the working surface that's still
How lazy is she?
as a gap in this case.
Well, as lazy as a Susan.
Roll out some of the Sculptix oil.
It's a good plan.
And fill it simply by pressing it into that cavity. We don't want to have a cavity between the model and the working surface.
It's a man with a plan.
More teeth are inserted to the inside part of the upper jaw, and some of these are actually going to be held in place.
Some might say I'll cast the teeth separately and attach them. I don't know. Like you could make the same head look different by just changing up the teeth, you know, later in another casting.
If
that's a dinosaur allowance.
So I'm going to adhere them. So one more time, I'm checking the perimeter off the model. Making sure
you can see his shape work that he's done already here. Nice.
Along. So that's good.
And the other thing is that this model is ideal to work with because it's a model that was already cast. So you remember we did that video of this other guy making a bear skull, and all these little like hassle areas have already been dealt with. So he's working with a model that has scale, which is challenges, and it's a big enough project on its own, but it doesn't have the fussy challenges of a real skull, because where do you get this, right? I mean, come on, you don't get that.
And now we...
Oh, it's not real?
Years ago, they asked me to help with that T-Rex at the museum.
205 to the model itself. So we don't want to lift up any of the previous paint off of the model, so some release agent covering the model itself.
Okay, pro to pro, where's his glasses? I don't know.
Should minimize any material that's going
that should just be a rule
in our mold.
If you're in that room, you wear glasses.
Or apply the release agent and allow it to pool at the bottom of your setup. Allow it 10 minutes to dry before proceeding on to the next step.
Man, this is clear and what? Did you see that?
What? They rotated the thing.
You didn't see it knock over the release agent? Okay, watch. Watch this.
Yeah.
Before proceeding on to the next step.
And see his phone? Oh!
Nice.
As mentioned before, we're going to be using the MoldMax.
That happens, man.
Which is
It's a bummer.
tin silicone rubber. I'm adding a little bit of
What do we say about the scales, Posh? Oh, you are.
Scale the bag.
Scale the bag.
black silicone pigment due to the fact that this material does not have a clear color indicator when it's mixed well. Now, this product has a 100A to 10B by weight mix ratio, so you do need to use an accurate gram scale.
Yeah.
Now, as always,
10 to 1.
scrape the sides.
By
scrape
weight,
the
not
bottom
volume.
of
You have
your
to pay
mixing
attention.
Container.
Weights and
Once the
volumes are
mold-max stroke
sometimes
is mixed,
very
Okay.
different.
Can apply
But
it
it's still
to
10 to
the
1.
model.
It's 10 to 100.
And
10 to
because
1.
this is a
10 to
large
1.
model, I like to get the material
I'm-
onto the model.
I'm surprised
and
he's
then
not wearing
spread it
glasses.
Using a chip brush. In
I'll
this
stop saying
case,
it.
A 3-inch chip brush. This is an extremely large model, so we like to work with the appropriate tools. Now,
All
once
right, he's
I
killing it.
brush the material around, I do like to use some compressed air to make
Did he
sure
de-air
that
the
there's no
silicone?
air
I guess he
bubbles
doesn't need it.
that are stuck in the
chose a
Brushing
material
it
that
on,
doesn't.
yeah.
layer of the rubber.
It's a good idea. We call that Johnny the Mold.
Material into the crevices and details of the original model, thus capturing the finest detail of it. And you can see how
Some
large
people
the
would put
model is.
shims
I
in the
can't
in
just
between the
mix
teeth,
one
but
batch of rubber.
I want to see how he handles it.
One batch on the entire model.
nice that he's got a
I have to
big
mix
brush.
Several large batches and make sure that I have enough working time with the material where the material is fluid enough when I'm applying it in a large area. And once again, I like to come back with some compressed air.
If you use
make
the
sure
sprayed
that
air,
there's
you-
no air bubbles stuck in the first coat of the silicone. Do note here that we brush on the silicone about 2 to 3 inches beyond our model over the oil-based clay. This will give us a nice wide edge.
That's a lot. It's a good idea, but he said 2 to 3 inches, but he's really,
They're selling it.
he's like 10, 8 inches. Doesn't matter.
Take a quick
They're
look, make
selling
sure
it.
that you have all the surfaces covered.
He's like,
with
you
the
need
first
more.
layer.
Buy more.
The MoldMax stroke is now allowed
So far, there's very little waste.
hours partial cure
Yeah.
before
He didn't
moving on to the
he didn't
next
make
step.
too much.
Now, quick finger check, making sure that the material is set up enough that we can apply the second layer. Then we
All right, good that he
serve the
pigmented
first layer.
different.
And on the second layer, you can see I pigmented the silicone with
Nice.
some green pigment, and that is simply so we can see where we're applying the material.
It's good that he's got an apron on too. I mean, I know it's for marketing things, but when you get these big projects, you're leaning over them, you're putting your belly into the.
split. We're
into the
just
beast
applying
here.
material to get a first
I used to just
impression
wreck shirts.
of the original model, capture all the detail. Now, once we apply all the
I like that color.
material to this layer and we cover
Sporty.
all the previous layer, we can then allow the
It's nice they sped it up, and it's kind of like
for 2 hours.
a perfect show and tell. Fixed
Here
cameras.
You can see that
You got to
some
snip
of
the snots.
material that has formed into drips can be snipped away using scissors. This is unnecessary material that's going to just cause other material to be built up in areas that you don't need it. So remove these as needed, but be careful not to snip.
He's a very good explainer.
entire
Very
layer.
clear.
Now we're ready for our layer 2.5. This is a thickened layer. So you can see here I thickened up my MoldMax.
So the Thi-Vex I used a couple times, and it does exactly what it says, but I noticed in my personal experience that when I made molds with Thi-Vex, they didn't last as long. The material, the silicone sort of came apart easier with the Thi-Vex. I don't know chemically why, but when I used Cab-O-Sil to thicken material, it strengthened the silicone, but the Cab-O-Sil is a health hazard and you have to really be mindful about the ventilation and things like this. So I think Thi-Vex is a great option. Just don't expect your mold to last more than you'll find out yourself.
Stroke using some Thi-Vex. And then I'm going to start by filling in the undercut areas. So I'm going to use this thickened material.
He's really
to fill
smart
any
about
of
this. I don't like the tool that he's working with for my own ergonomics. I like something that has a little more of I would take a butter knife or a spatula or just another thing that had a little contour. But his concept is really terrific here, is go in and plug the heavy spaces first, because otherwise, you'll be plugging the heavy space one layer at a time, one layer at a time. You end up with a really heavy mold when you only need to knock in these pockets here. So he's got a great idea. I don't know if he's going to do the whole thing. If he has the material, just use it. But
Undercut areas that I think
it's hard to
be
have that
in the
painter's stick
creation of the support
be a
shell
tool.
and in the demolding
It's a mixing tool, but I don't think it's a good
The
application
areas here
tool.
between the teeth need to all be filled. Those are deep cavities. No pun intended. Teeth, cavities, get it? But all those areas do need to be filled in with a layer of thickened material. So you can see how many.
Did you see I resisted the pun engagement?
To mix here just to get one coat that's thickened. The mold max stroke is now allowed 2 hours for a partial cure before moving on to the next step. Now we're going to proceed with a layer 3. So this is covering everything. So everything that was thickened gets covered again with another layer. You can see here, I'm keeping the colors the same so I can see where one layer has covered. Again, we're going to allow this a partial cure for 2 hours before moving on to the next step. We're stepping up to the next layer. We still have some undercuts that we need to fill in. This area here that I'm pointing out, I'm worrying that we're going to get a support shell that's going to get stuck in that area.
Yeah, you got to
further thickening of material.
You got to draft them out.
And then filling any of those areas.
Yeah, he's got this. He's nailing it.
Either because of undercuts or because we need extra material on those areas, like the tips of the teeth here. You can see that we're going to need extra material there because those are very pointy and minimal material.
Sometimes when you have a point like that, there's a way to build up the silicone over it. You can actually put some pre-cured pieces to kind of bulk it out. It's clumsy if you've never done it before. And I like his way, but I want to say that you can put pre-cured pieces on the tips of things and then kind of butter over them. It's not an every time solution for sure.
Material is being built up, and as always, take a look over the entire mold to make sure that you're not.
That lazy Susan spin, click my eye.
You're applying the material. Just like we did on previous layer, this layer is allowed a partial cure for 2 hours. We're aiming for the same thickness throughout the entire mold, but there will be some areas that are going to be thinner and some areas that are thicker. Now here,
it's a tedious process.
Everything with one layer,
for sure,
encapsulating all the different layers that are thickened, making sure that we get a even thickness all throughout. The material is now allowed to partial cure before moving on to the next step. In the meantime, what we can do is pour some keys and channels. So these are poured out of the same material we're using, with no pigmentation in this case. So just a quick and important note here. Note on the aluminum channel that I've written down tin silicone. That means that this tool is only meant to be used for tin-based materials. Otherwise, it can inhibit the cure of platinum silicones.
We've talked about making these channels in the past, and they've got the right idea. I simply would take several channels and pour many at the same time. And they might not have to be as big as he's pouring, but he's got his happy place here.
Go back.
It's a great technique.
You're using it for. The keys are poured and demolded after 2 hours of partial cure. They're still in a green
Oh, he did a couple. There you go.
They're not fully cured and are going to chemically bond very well with fresh material being applied to them. These are going to be used.
He's right, but I've used old tracks,
and in some cases,
and it still sticks pretty good.
Are going to be in wide areas, so that span wide areas, and we need to make sure that the silicone doesn't fall out of the support shell. Now, some thickened material is applied to the separation line that's already pre-made, and then we're going to hold it in place using some sew-in pins.
Yep, we used to do that.
As the material starts to thicken up, it becomes easier to smooth it out and feather the edges around the separation.
Yeah, all very good techniques.
Keep in mind these lines here, they're for two
Ooh,
purposes.
graphics.
They help us separate the different parts of the support shell and break down the support.
I just want to say about the pins, it sounds really fussy until it happens to you. The pins that I used to use had a colored little bobbin at the top, like a yellow or a red. And the reason I chose those is because when you have pins in the studio and they float around, you can get the pins in clay, and it's really easy to then be squeezing the clay and you have a pin that goes kind of badly in your hand. Now, it's not such a big deal if he's his own master of ceremony here because he's watching his own stuff. But when you get people in that are helping and they're kind of not a part of the whole story, things in the work environment shift, and squeezing a pin is not it's not a Monday happy moment.
Support shell. Here at the bottom, they're going to act as keys. They're going to lock into the support shell and hold it in place. And furthermore, they're going to help us cut the mold apart. So there's going to be enough material in an area where we need to
I see a good plan here.
That's why we use these channels.
You know, this is the thing is a lot of mold makers
allow 2 hours.
If you haven't done something before, I used to just sit and stare at objects for a little bit and kind of make a plan. And it didn't mean that I answered everything, but it just meant that I had some intention rather than thinking, oh, I'll get that. Because it's really easy to forget a basic step. It's like, oh, where's my release agent? He doesn't have to order anything because he just goes picks it. But if you're in the middle of a process and you haven't checked your material supplies before you start, it yucks the yum, man. It breaks the flow.
Hours for a partial cure before moving on to the next step. Now that the material has set up partially, we can come back and remove those pins.
Yeah.
Some of the silicone that's sticking out gets
perfect.
away,
Keep track
and
of it.
then we're going to finalize the mold by applying one final layer of silicone over everything. This is the final layer. It helps.
Yeah, you can glaze them out. It doesn't.
Layers.
It's nice. It's the high-end way to do it.
To make sure that.
But it's another
good visual.
2 pounds of material, if that.
Of our mold. The mold is now allowed to cure for 16 hours before moving on to the next step.
Aluminium.
16 hours since we applied the last material to our mold.
What's going on
We're
here?
going to trim the extra rubber around the perimeter, creating a nice crisp edge around the perimeter. This will prevent any tearing from the edges of our mold. And then we're going to cut into.
I think the only thing is, if it's just this one-piece mold, I would have brought this track all the way around the most outside edge here. We'll show a picture of how I like to take the lip and fold it over the edge of the plaster. His way is fine. It's just, why not? We're talking about it. Why not talk about some other options?
That separation shim that we built. Notice I'm only cutting a certain depth. This is only about 5 millimeters, which is
I've seen this technique. I never did this, but
and that's because we're going to insert these aluminum shims into that cut. So we're not cutting all the way through. We're cutting only partially to insert these aluminum shims that are going to.
I wasn't this smart.
Separate the different
I made a lot of work for myself.
Of the support shell that we're building. I like to use these aluminum shims. For one, you can repurpose them for many support shells. And the other.
Just also, sometimes in the shim work that you're doing, you can use the HVAC crimpers. They're basically a 3-prong and a 2-prong gripper, and you put the aluminum in and you can crimp it and it makes kind of this W. It looks like he's made some crimps here, here, and here. It's just a nice extra offering for registration. His registration is irregular enough to probably not need keys, but this shim needs to be long enough that he has some room to later put some bolts through there. So he can't make a tiny little wall.
They're very thin, easy to work with, easy to cut. Once we
you know what I think about?
We're going to apply some release agent to those shims.
You can't put this in front of a booth, you know? You gotta deal with it.
So now you're defending them.
No, what I would do is off screen, I would have a couple box fans with filters. At the very least, I would be pulling them.
They might have it. I mean, that's
and
a big shot.
I would have a mask on, and I would spray, and then I'd leave the area.
You'd have glasses on, of course.
Yes.
Yeah. He does have glasses on.
Yeah, they're
Now for the
better than
support
nothing.
shell, we're using an epoxy. This is the EpoxAmite 101 Fast, and
EpoxAmite.
material a little bit using the Urafil
The filler, again, we're going to show our little box fan Walmart solution. It's a box fan with the HVAC filter behind it, and at least draws the particulates. Now, if you have a dirty shop, that fan's just going to kick up more than it's a win. But I don't see them with the mask, and these fillers are easy to take in.
And we use some blue pigment in this case, so we can clearly see where the material is being applied.
I never use this stuff. I always use 4-ton. They sell 4-ton MG here.
Use the right size tools for that project.
I think that
Using larger chip brushes here will make my material application much easier.
I didn't like working with resin.
Much
I was too sensitive to it.
Now,
but
some glass fiber is laid into
does
the
the trick.
epoxy and then pressed in with the brush, making the epoxy soak into the glass fiber.
I use 4-ton with chopped glass. I
Keep in
wouldn't
mind
do
that
the strand,
whenever
the
you're laminating
mat.
epoxy and glass fibers like this, you want to make sure that they are randomly overlapping each other and that they are cut into smaller strips rather than few large ones. This will give the extra added strength to the support shell once it's fully cured. Also, you want to make sure that the glass fibers are fully saturated in the epoxy. Now, typically you can apply all the layers of the epoxy and glass fibers in one go and let them cure. But when I'm
If you're
working
set
on
up, he's moving clean, right? Because he's got space.
places where it's hanging.
He's
got a plan.
He's
Give it
prepped.
a partial cure because the material just sets up enough that it won't move from the application area. It also allows us then to build up additional layers without having to worry about them slumping or separating with air voids in between. So I'm going to allow the epoxy a partial cure of 1 hour before applying additional layers. A second coat of EpoxAmite 101 Fast is applied, and additional glass fiber layer is applied to the build. Do note that we're not using any of the 11 on the subsequent layers of the EpoxAmite.
Yeah, it's tedious, man. I don't miss this type of stuff.
Thin, and also
It was
allow
fun,
it to fully penetrate
but
into the glass fibers.
Not for me
Now,
anymore.
this type of application is known as a composites mold or sandwiching application.
Oh, we saw this. Oh, okay. Look, he's doing a lot.
Embedding a layer of a light.
That other video where the guy had mixed too much and it didn't cure.
Between a layer of the EpoxAmite with glass fiber cloth and a final layer of EpoxAmite with glass fiber cloth.
It looks so satisfying.
Very strong.
Does it? Look, Bondo bodywork.
Weight support.
It's clean. I mean, the 4-ton that I used to use,
standard version.
I didn't have to buy all this stuff.
I love this material.
It looks great though. I would have loved to work with that.
And you can see here I'm building some ridges into the freeform air, and that's going to allow us to create even a stronger overall structure.
You could put in some metal pieces there just as sort of handles, you know.
Now, once the freeform air has partially cured,
Oh, more?
follow up with one final layer of the EpoxAmite with the glass fiber embedded into the.
Oh, he's got handles. Okay.
Finally, once
I'm learning.
that layer has.
I would have stopped at the last
we're
layer.
going to attach some handles for easier maneuvering and handling off the mold.
And storage.
Yeah.
It's a big stuff, man. You got to be able to hang it or
Just then embed
put it on a shelf or something.
freeform air.
You make these beasts and
EpoxAmite and glass fiber.
it's hard to throw out something so big, right? I mean, because all this work that went into it. When the job's done, where does it go?
On the shelf.
On a shelf.
So
on a
everything
pallet rack.
receives one more layer of the epoxy with the glass
I don't know, another
fibers.
layer?
Again, making
Now I
the
feel like,
overall support shell.
I thought he just said it was the last layer,
keeping
and he
it
keeps putting them in.
I'm thinking this is a little bit of a,
Composite
I have
epoxy
it.
support shell.
This is what I mean by you have the shop, they have everything they need without
Before moving on to the next step.
financial calculation in the same way that I might.
We can remove some of the aluminum shims easily with some pliers, pull those out. And again, we're going to put some ease release 205 on the epoxy in this case to make sure that the second half of our support shell.
I don't know enough about epoxy to make recommendations for release agents.
On all the
so I would say
parts of the support shell.
That's nice. They're showing it all at once. Look at that.
Part support shell, so it makes it really difficult to understand how these parts all come together. But one thing that you have to understand is you need to break down.
I don't know. I don't know why this wasn't one piece here. It looks like he could have pulled it off. He put those ridges in there. The key line itself made it require another mold piece. I don't know that the keys were needed there. I'd have to look at the model. Like this, to me, seems like an extra step. This mother mold could have dropped down, in my opinion. And a design issue like that makes a lot of hour difference. It's pretty the way he did it, but it's a lot of, I don't know. I'm not there.
All before you start making the mold.
Oh,
so
maybe it goes under.
Down in your head before you start making the mold to understand how it's going to come apart.
I'm watching.
Another thing I wanted to bring to your attention, when you're working on a multi-part support shell like this, you don't have to wait for 16 hours till you start working on another section. Just choose another section of your support shell that does not directly touch to that part, and you can actually build that entire section out as well.
I wonder what that resin smells like.
The support shell is finished. We also made some legs for the mold, and they are...
So this is, again, a shop that has resources. It's really easy. You just pull this out. I used to build these with PVC pipe. We'll put some pictures on of how I added that. And I like the PVC for different reasons, but wood works fine. You just got to reinforce it.
Adhered to the rest of
But everything was measured and cut a couple times, you know. It looks like he just did it, but it needed to be fit.
These legs on the mold.
Yeah, see, all this stuff.
Easier.
I would have done this with PVC, and you would have had the angle joints here of the elbows, and it would have been just plenty strong. So it's just choice.
Allowed a full cure of 16 hours.
It looks great. I mean, I don't want to diminish anything here about this process. It's except the gloves and the itching. It's so tempting.
Support shell has cured, and we can go ahead.
What's happening?
To the cleaning up of the support shell. Keep in mind the epoxies are quite sharp.
Glasses on.
Where is he?
It's in a different part of the shop.
I hope so.
Seems like there's like some sort of pipe next to him, which might be like the vacuum.
I hope so.
See bottom
on
left?
These edges now that have cured up, and we want to make sure to remove any sharp edges.
That's some rough stuff.
Before handling the mold.
I would be in a Thi-Vex suit.
Use the 4.5-inch grinder for that.
He's going to go, no, I mean, they're in the wood shop, but they just killed.
It has to have ventilation.
I don't know, they just killed that shop, in my mind, because also the dust goes on his clothes, and then where does he go? He sprays off with an air hose, which sprays it more, or he goes into the break room and has a sandwich. In my mind, this is the downside of any sort of resin, is to clean it up really requires some dust control. I don't really know what choice happened here.
Now, a couple of hands here to help me turn the mold over, and then we're going to chase the edge off the top of the mold as well.
Yeah, that's a disaster.
Then we're going to proceed by drilling holes that are going to allow us.
It's real world, but I would have taken some precautions. You can bag an area.
Need to be bolted back together, and that's
it's not sawdust. You know, this is stuff.
Now,
oh damn it, we got another.
The lower jaw. I pretty much
They're not kidding, man.
Process to make the mold, except that I made a 2-piece mold, and for the support shell, I made 3 parts. I will continue to focus on the main piece, but I wanted to show you that I followed the same process for the smaller piece.
Oh, look at that. Oh.
Now the entire support shell comes apart. Again, go slowly and pry it from multiple angles. And here again, I'm using some extra hands. Pry the mold away from the support
it came off so easy.
And that's how easily that comes apart. If you've done your math correct, and you can see the parts of the support shell just falls off.
Yeah, if he had had that lip in this design, that lip that I recommended would have just blocked the removal of that piece. So his plan is good for him. I would have changed a couple things altogether.
Off on its own, this is great because this composite epoxy support shell is very strong and durable yet lightweight. I don't have to worry about the support shell actually.
Does he sound like he's from New Jersey or something?
He does have an accent. I did think about it.
Held together by the bolts, but come apart very easily. So that is very good planning. Now, some of the areas still need to be cleaned out here. These are the keys that help keep the mold in the support shell. I like to clean any sharp edges in the mold itself, in the support shell. It prevents any kinds of...
I wonder if they can use a Surform on this. You know, when you're holding a knife like a killer, it's a lot of force.
Don't want to stab yourself, that's for sure.
Yeah, and the Surform I would drag, but I would wear a glove. And the reason is when you have those Surforms, you can skip along the resin, which kind of moves fast, and you can cut your knuckles right here. So it looks easy until you take some hits. I mean, I'm taking hits all the time. This is just from driving.
Rips and tears in our mold. And now the fun part, we get to split the
fun part
apart. So we need...
This whole thing was a fun part.
In the mold itself.
I like their shop organization. Look at all these labels and
very slowly.
I floated off the floor here.
Different cuts.
That's good.
To make sure that I open the mold the way I intended to. When you do cut the molds open like this, you want to cut in a zigzag pattern and not in a
I don't think he needs to cut the whole
edge.
Thing.
And here we have our mold off the model.
Huzzah!
It came apart perfectly. There's a couple
That's 50 pounds of silicone
that did get trapped, not in the surface, but in the thickened layer we applied between the teeth. So we're going to mix some of the silicone with the thickener and then fill those air voids. That is allowed now to fully cure for another 16 hours before closing the mold.
What do you think is a 1 week build?
That on top of itself because it will bond.
I think
that
at
area.
least a week, because they had 16 hours for,
the mold
you know.
gets
and he's got other stuff he's got to do, you know.
For the casting process. And you can see here that a good created mold makes it easy to work.
Can they 3D print this stuff these days?
Oh yeah, sure.
Embedded in the support shell.
Big enough 3D printer, boom, done.
Well, you know, the thing is people say, oh, the detail. That depends on what the application is. If this is some sort of like a decoration for a restaurant and it's going up above the door, it doesn't matter.
No one's going to see the detail.
No one's going to see. Yeah. It's going to just be the general shape. And I would just print it and glaze it with some resin or something like that, or some really nice paint. Because this mold thing here, I mean, if you hired a mold maker to make that, what's that, 6, 8, 10 grand? I don't know what it costs these days to make that kind of stuff. I don't do it. I'm sweating just thinking about it. So it's a lot of work. And you tie up your strong shop talent with a mold like this.
To work on this mold by myself.
It is hot in here, right?
Having to have an extra set of hands that holds everything for me in place while we bolt it together. So a little bit of planning.
Man, it looks like $1 million.
A long way. And
but how many do you need to make, right? This is a mold designed for making a lot of these.
Keep in mind is
this would be like for a franchise in a restaurant. You know, they want the display the same.
To create. It took me about 3 days to
Portillo's used to do a lot of really big ornamental work.
That I worked on the support shell 8 hours a day, but between
he said 3 days.
The material, sandwiching the materials, the epoxies, and creating of the legs that the mold is going to stand on, it took quite a lot longer than what is apparent in the video.
Oh yeah.
If you got inspired by this project, then you'll like to give
we're here.
Projects a go. And need some.
What do I say about this? I think this guy did a great job. There's a lot of things about a video like this that I like because it shows right through to the win. He didn't halt or stumble, but he had good editorial control, but I don't think there was any secrets that were missed that weren't included. I think it's a true showing. It has the support of a very nice company to back him up with the material, so that's not any issue. I would always say that there are, I give them thumbs up. I wrote a book using smooth-on material. I had a different experience with smooth-on on a different level that wasn't as satisfying to me. But the materials we use in the shop today a little bit still, some specialty things. But anyways, I'm glad that smooth-on put the molds, has a mold maker that's willing to make these films, and so I'll give them the mold makers high five on this. Dinosaur 5.